and welcome to Two Bound Books. My name is Amber.
And my name is Shaylee. We are so glad you're with us today. We are a podcast dedicated to bringing authors and readers together through stories that bind us. I am very excited for today's episode.
Ooh.
I planned something secretively that you didn't know I was planning.
You did.
Because I wanted to get your reaction.
My hot take?
Yes. Yeah, we're going to call them hot takes.
Ooh.
Because you are very passionate, as we've talked about.
I am exceptionally passionate. I would say that's a word that describes me.
Well, I want to be clear that just because this is a hot take I'm saying does not mean that this is something that I agree with.
Okay.
Because there are some in here that I'm wholeheartedly against, but these are hot takes from other bookish people on the internet.
Okay.
That were shared.
I'm ready.
All right. First one. Slow burns are just painfully drawn out miscommunication.
You know, if everyone talked like actually expressed who they are or like what they're feeling, the story would move so much faster. But that doesn't also stop me from liking a slow burn.
Okay.
But yeah, 100%. If they like actually communicated, 100%.
But then I feel like we'd miss some of the storyline though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And where would the tragedy befall our two lovebirds?
Yeah, okay.
You got to have a tragedy point. Usually that happens with the miscommunication.
Yeah, because then they have to find a way to get back to each other.
Am I wrong?
You're not wrong. I got that little secretive. Okay, next one. Mm-hmm. Not every book needs a romance subplot. Sometimes we just want adventure.
You know, I'm a big fantasy reader, and I love me a solid just fantasy book. But I will say, romance definitely helps the story.
I want the romance. I disagree with this hot take.
But like, there's stories that I totally would be like, I mean, Aragon doesn't need a love story. Inkspell, Inkheart, Ink Death don't need a love story.
Yeah, there's some that it's just very,
like,
it just captures you.
Fantasy sometimes just can be fantasy without romance. But I will say, as I've gotten older, romance does help with sometimes that like imaginary fantasy that like I can't.
Because you relate to it more as an adult.
I do. I've had my own romance, my own love story.
Okay, I'm really excited about this one with you. Ready?
I'm ready.
Next hot take. The childhood best friends to lovers trope is superior to enemies to lovers.
Oh, I love me a good enemies to lovers. Oh my gosh. No.
But you and Taylor are the best friends to lovers trope.
We are. Actually, so Taylor and I have had this conversation. Taylor's my husband, if you do not know. So Taylor and I have had this conversation, and we are the best friends to lovers trope, but that doesn't stop us from loving a solid enemies to lovers. And we had this conversation and he said, I agree to disagree. And I was like, okay, I can accept your disagreements. However, I will still choose my favorite.
Okay.
So you're wrong.
I'm a big fan of enemies to lovers.
Oh, yeah. Always.
Because I just feel like best friends to lovers rarely happens. So
always.
Okay, next one. Audiobooks do count as reading. Stop the slander.
Yes, 100%. Okay.
I knew this one would get her fired up.
Okay. Oh, but okay. Yes, 100%.
Okay, so
I have so many thoughts flooding into me.
Well, here's the thing. You have asked me my thoughts on audiobooks.
Yes.
And if they're reading, but we've never actually heard your stance on it.
Okay, so I had a big medical crisis that happened to me, and I ended up having a traumatic brain injury that made it so that I couldn't actually physically read. Mm-hmm. And listening to audiobooks made it so that I could actually begin to comprehend again, because I lost all aspects of comprehension. And I lost all aspects of being able to read physically. And I had to relearn how to do that. But I could still hear and I could understand words. And I could still understand all of that. So for me, 100%, you are still getting the plot. You are still getting the words. You actually learn how to say the names correctly.
The truth behind that. I'm reading a fantasy book right now, and I'm half the words I'm for the names.
I read one sentence to Taylor, and he was like, I didn't understand half of those words. And I go, honestly, I didn't either. And I don't know if I'm saying them correctly.
Yeah.
And so, like, and don't get me wrong, I love reading a good, solid physical book. Love it. Do not get me wrong on this. But there are some stories where if I'm like, okay, I know this book has a like dead spot in it. Like The Lost Apothecary is a book that I would 100% not have finished if
you didn't have the audio.
I didn't have the audiobook.
Yeah.
So much better over audiobook.
Yeah. I struggled with this, as you know, for a long time. But the more that I have immersed myself into book world, I would still count it as reading the book because, like you said, you're still getting the words. It's still the same story.
Yeah.
You're not watching it on TV. You're not correct physically reading a book. But think of people who can't physically read.
Yeah.
Like you talked about. This is their only way of getting a book in.
Absolutely. And then you also have the people, sorry, I'm very passionate about this because so many people are like, audiobooks aren't reading. And I'm like, okay, stop. Like, let's have a conversation. And so I was a teacher. Before the COVID apocalypse happened, I was a teacher. And one of my students was adamant that they read purely comic books, and their parents were purely against it. And I asked the parents during conferences, why are you against your child reading comic books? And they said, because they're not getting the plot and they're not getting like solid word choice. And I'm like, do you understand that there are actual statistics out there saying that comic books have a larger vernacular and vocabulary and deeper subplots than some of your chapter books? Like, if your child is picking up a comic book, congratulations, you have a reader.
Yeah.
If your child is picking up a chapter book, congratulations, you have a reader. If your child is picking up a picture book, congratulations, you have a reader.
Hey, so Amber.
If your child is listening to an audiobook, you have a reader. Hot take.
Next hot take. If a book doesn't grab you by page 50, DNF or do not finish it without guilt.
See, okay. Okay, how far into a book is 50 pages? Because there are some books
50 pages.
No, I know. But like, what percentage of the book are you through? Because I usually will say, give it a solid 20 to 25%. And if it doesn't grab you by then.
Okay, well, let's think like the average 350 to 400 page book.
I would keep going till probably about page 100. And if it doesn't grab me by then I would DNF. There's one book that I read, I think it was like Girls in White Dresses, I think it was the name of it. And it's about 4 friends and it's 4 different friends' perspectives on like all the situations. And I'm not kidding you when I say like I should have DNF'd it because I was so confused.
That sounds like a Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants
It felt
situation.
very much adult, like more of like, because it was just a weird book.
Yeah, I'm very competitive in nature and not just with other people, but also with myself. And so I've only DNF'd a couple of books ever because I will force myself to read it, whether I like it or not, once I start it.
I can count on my 2 hands how many books I have DNF'd.
Yeah, I really think I've only DNF'd 2, maybe 3.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. A gorgeous book cover makes us buy it even without knowledge of what's it about.
Oh, always. Like next.
Okay, next. Multiple point of views is overrated. Let's stick to one character.
Okay. It depends on what kind of a book it is. It depends. Okay. Because if you have an audiobook and it's switching back and forth between like a male and a female and it's a love story and you get to hear their 2 perspectives, oh my gosh, absolutely love it.
Yeah.
If it is...
I love dual POVs.
Oh, 100%. If you are listening to a book, and I'm going to go audiobook aspect of this, and it is one reader or one actor and they are reading for both characters, gets super confusing. Okay? Especially for those POVs. Okay? If you have a book that has 5 or 6 POVs, get over yourself and pick a character. Like, I
I
struggle.
will say though, okay, so we've had some arc books that have had single point of view and it's just like one character heavy. And then we've had the other ones that have the dual focus. And I will say that the ones that are just really single character heavy, I feel like we miss the deeper character emotion, the feel, the understanding even of them.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like when you get the dual side of it, you're getting more understanding of what's happening around that main character.
Yes, in a romance aspect of a book, no. Like, I would stick it to just two, like the male and the female. Like, don't...
Oh, yeah, no, I wouldn't want... I feel like more than two gets really confusing.
More than two gets really confusing. And also, the thing I struggle with when you have character, like more than one character's POVs, is the lack of character growth or depth that we know about that character, because it's not about that character. It's mainly about another character. And so it's like, but it pertains and progresses the story on that aspect. So that's one of the things I struggle with.
Okay, you ready for the next one?
I'm ready.
The I'm not like other girls female main character needs to retire permanently.
I'm not like other girls. Oh my gosh. Let me tell you about the I'm not like other girls, which is in every single story.
But I will say, we just talked about S.K. Horton's book recently, The Concealed, and we're going to be talking about The Captured soon. And what I loved about her female main character is she was so like everyone else.
And I loved it. And she accepted the fact that she was a normal, ordinary girl. Mm-hmm. And when I'm not like other girls, get over yourself. You are like every other girl out there.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that hot take. That needs to die permanently.
100%.
Okay, ready? Every book should have a vibes playlist included at the end.
Oh my goodness. I love this idea. I love it. I love it. I love it. It would be even better if you had the author like create the actual playlist so that while you were listening to the book, it'd be like, this chapter associates with this.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
I would eat that up. I would eat that for breakfast.
As two people that love music, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
100%.
Okay. Spine cracking doesn't ruin a book. It means it was well loved.
Get over yourself. The book should look pristine.
I've seen those TikToks where they're like cracked.
Oh my gosh, I cry. Like there's that song from Our Day I'm Gonna Date Myself. This is what dreams are made of. No, that's what nightmares are made of. If you do that...
You guys, she was just quoting the Lizzie McGuire movie.
I told you I was going to date myself, okay? If you crack the spine of a book, there's a special place for you, and I will not go further.
I'm just saying, Hillary Duff never goes out of style.
It's true. Those bell bottoms.
Okay, final hot take of the day.
I'm ready.
Not all books need a happy ending. Sometimes tragedy hits harder.
I love a good tragedy every once in a great long while. I struggle sometimes mentally when books do not end up with a nice little bow. I like my books nice and cleanly wrapped, fresh with a ribbon.
Yeah, I have read a couple of books lately that have some severe tragedies in them. And this particular author is not afraid to kill off a main character. And as heartbreaking as it is, I'm kind of loving it. I like that it's different than other stuff because so many authors are scared to kill off the main character and everything, like you said, will be tied in a neat little bow at the end. And I'm like, rip my heart out, whatever.
Yeah. Sometimes I like when an author doesn't rip your heart out and then stomp on it. Sometimes. Every once in a while, there's that good book that Anne Napolitan.
Are you talking about the airplane book again?
Yes. That book somehow.
I feel like that's too relevant right now.
In this book, there's an 11-year-old boy who ends up surviving a plane crash, and he's the only survivor out of like 300 people in this plane crash. And it's a miracle that he survived, and he was in a window seat or whatever. I'm not really sure all the aspects of that. But His entire family was on it. He ends up going and living with his aunt, and it ends up getting all like wrapped up in a nice little bow. And I'm like, okay, but like when I'm reading this book, I'm sobbing profusely. Like I know that like what he's going through is a real tragedy. Sometimes that doesn't need to be wrapped up in a bow. Sometimes you just need to be able to sit there and be like, and this is how it was.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, those were some fun hot takes. But I feel like it also kind of leads us right into what you really want to talk about today. And you've been so excited about this episode. We are going to talk about book math. And for those who are like, what are you talking about? If you've heard about girl math, that's what this is, but in the book world.
So I don't understand girl math, but book math?
It's the same thing.
Okay, but book math, I get. Girl math, I'm like,
It's the same thing.
Yeah, but usually it deals with like nails or clothes, and I don't really know that. I get my clothes at like Costco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good clothes.
Go Costco. If you want to sponsor us, let us know.
But let me just say, Amber, you have an addiction to shopping on Amazon.
Oh, 100%.
There's a new package at your door daily.
Sometimes multiple.
Yeah.
I mean,
so you definitely have that justification mindset.
Yeah, but I don't necessarily like, I'm not buying clothes and things like that. Usually
You're buying book things?
Usually it's like Bookish stickers or my latest was a whole bunch of office supplies.
And then you got yourself a bunch of sweatshirts.
I did get myself a whole bunch of sweatshirts, but it was really cool because you could pay for them with your Venmo account, and I don't have my Venmo connected to my bank, so it made it so that I could spend my Venmo money.
That's girl math.
Okay, if that's girl math, then I understand it. If bookstores made it so that you could pay with your Venmo, I would be
in trouble.
In a lot of trouble.
All right, so we've kind of explained what girl math is, and just think of it in the aspect of book math as well. Basically, it's that you are justifying your purchase or something's on sale for this much, so I'm saving this much. So really, it'd be a shame if I didn't buy it because then I wouldn't get this deal that's happening right now.
Oh, 100%. I get this. I get book math 100%.
Okay, so give me one.
Okay. It's cheaper than a daily coffee habit.
Depends on how often you're buying books.
On the daily.
Yeah, no, then coffee's definitely cheaper.
I don't know. So here's my thing, okay? Here's my justification with it. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Buy used books, people. You get more for your money. Think about how much you saved.
This is hard for me because I'm a coffee lover.
Okay, but book math says it that like if you buy it used, you technically didn't pay full price. So you saved that much money.
Okay.
Right? If a book was originally $25 and you only paid like $5 for it, you technically saved $20. So it's an investment.
Okay, one that I struggle with is that if you have the first book of the series, you need to buy the whole series.
Oh, 100%.
And I have a few on my bookshelf right now where they're the first book and I don't own the other two that go in the trilogy. And I'm struggling.
So I have a question for you.
What?
Do you love that for your birthday, I got you an entire set?
Yes. And they're pretty and colorful.
Because I knew that
She got me special edition books for my birthday. It was pretty cool.
So that you wouldn't have to have an incomplete set of special edition books.
I very much appreciated it.
It's what I'm here for. No, but 100%. It's the completionist mindset. I need to be able to complete it.
Okay.
Book math.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Give me another one.
Okay. Unread books on my shelf don't count until I start reading them.
So so you're saying the money that you spent on that book doesn't count until you've actually read the book.
100%. And the TBR pile is technically theoretical. It's not actual.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
So TBR is to be read. So your to be read pile is theoretical,
Okay.
not actual.
Well, yeah, you haven't bought them yet. Oh, you're saying your TBR that you've already bought?
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh. For me, my to be read is like books that I haven't yet got.
So, okay. So my grandma has been flying through some books. Okay. So I promised her that this weekend we would go to Half Price Books.
Oh no. Okay, last time you walked out of Half Price Books, I got a FaceTime of you with a stack as big as your upper body.
It was 3 bags. It was 3 bags.
You guys, okay, quick story time. This girl went up to Half Price Books about 30 minutes north of us. And
They have the better Half Price Books.
she has her son with her, who is the younger of the two, and she gets a flat tire on the side of the freeway. And so while she's waiting for AAA or someone to come help her, she FaceTimes me to show me every book she got at Half Price Books on the side of the freeway.
So I've technically been to Half Price Books like 12 more times since then. My shelf, yeah, it's growing. And so I had a rule that in January I wasn't allowed to buy any books.
How's that worked out for you?
I didn't buy any books in January, but February 1st, my Amazon cart was full. And so I got some books.
So, okay, you didn't buy any books in January.
Nope.
What about a subscription service to books in January?
I did not do it in January.
Okay.
I did not do it in January because I have Book of the Month, which if you would like to sponsor us, let us know.
Okay. Yeah. So you have this subscription. Do you feel like that saves you money?
I don't know. I technically haven't read a book yet.
You haven't read one book from Book of... How many boxes have you gotten?
5.
And you haven't read one book from them?
No, but they're really pretty.
Cancel it.
Never. You get to pick out what books you want. So it's not like I'm not going to read them. It's the TBR pile. It is not actual, you guys.
Oh my gosh.
It's theoretical. I didn't technically buy it yet.
I just want to say to my family, who's always told me that I have bad spending habits, no, not anymore.
Okay. But okay. Here is a book math. Okay. Buying books and reading books are separate hobbies.
Okay, so I can still kind of get behind that.
So
one.
I can still buy books even if I haven't read them.
Okay.
Like, even if I haven't read the ones I own.
I can kind of get behind that one because sometimes I go to Target just to browse the book aisle.
Oh, always.
But
Always. Also, so this is what's really messed up. So I go to the Half Price Books 30 minutes away from us because it's the best Half Price Books. But in order to make the trip feel worth it, I have to buy at least 2 books.
well, yeah, wait. That contradicts itself. I was going to say, well, yeah, the gas money, but then you're spending more. I guess you have a fully electric vehicle.
I do have a fully electric vehicle, but like the gas and the time spent must be balanced with the book quantity.
Okay.
So,
How many do you usually end up leaving with, though?
At least like 5.
Yeah.
But there have been rare occasions where I've only left with 2. I say rare because it happened like once.
Oh, my word. I can't wait to hear how many you got this weekend when you're done going.
You'll probably get a FaceTime.
Oh, my gosh. You guys, this one has the worst habit.
I'm a book dragon, okay?
We will be reading books both at our respective homes, about 15 minutes away from each other. And right now she's reading a book that I read first. And so she has been FaceTiming or calling me every time something big happens in the book, which is every like 3 chapters, you guys.
Sometimes it's every 1 chapter.
And I'm like, stop calling me. Let me read my book.
Credit where credit is due. Sometimes I only make it 1.
That's what texting is for. So then I can respond to you in the middle of good pauses in my book.
That's fine. Okay. Here's something else that I do, I suppose. That's kind of book mathish. Sometimes I will view a book like test driving a car, and I'll like check it out from the library. And if I really, really like it, I'll book dragon it and order it off of Amazon so that I have a copy. So that way then I can read it again.
I will say Amazon has some of the best prices.
Yeah.
And you know what's really cool? If you guys didn't know this, little tip for you. Target price matches. Mm-hmm. So there's been times where I've been in Target and I'm like, I really want this book. And then I price match it on Amazon, and Target always has deals. But if it's cheaper on Amazon, I got a book that was at Target for $19.99 for $5.99 because it was on sale through Amazon. But I was able to pick it up that day in the store, and it was the best.
Look at my little book dragon growing her library.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, welcome to the horde.
But speaking of Target sales,
yes,
this is a good like girl math, book math one.
Okay, I'm ready.
Is Target has the best sales ever, and in the book aisle specifically.
Yeah.
And so you walk down and they have all of their books either 20 or 30% off usually. But then there's some days where you're extra lucky and you're getting 20 or 30% off the books. But on top of that sale, because they go together, you also get buy one, get one free or buy one, get two free on the books. And then you're really just getting the whole fleet for free.
Yeah. I mean, at that point,
it's free.
Book math. So, yeah. No, I have a lot of book justifications that I do. So, like, if I buy used, I didn't pay full price. So I technically saved money and I'm being extra financially responsible.
Okay, so then switching gears a little bit.
Yeah.
In the book world, another thing to like go along with the hot takes in the book math is some people have things in the book world that they will totally spend money on and things that they're like, heck no, I'm not going to spend my money on that. And one of them is trophy books, which I know you will spend on every single time.
Every single time.
I'm not a trophy book person, as we know, because I'm like, I already read it. I don't need it.
Yeah. I will gladly. My goal is to have a library, you guys. In order to have a library, you have to have 1,000 books. And my goal is to have a library.
Okay.
My goal is to have a library, and that means that I want to fill it with all of the books that I have read.
Well, another one you will spend on book of the month. I will not. However, I will die with Kindle Unlimited.
Yeah. So
that's only $11.99 a month, and I can read as many books as I want.
Well, yeah, but then Kindle also does these, or Amazon does these like stuff your Kindle days. And the Kindle app is free. And so I don't pay for the Kindle Unlimited app.
The library app just doesn't always have the books I want.
No, I know.
Or you have to wait forever, where with Kindle Unlimited, you get it right then and there.
So, but Amazon has select days throughout the year that they will have a stuff your Kindle day and books will be free on that day. So on that day, will go and be like, ooh, I want to read this book and this book and this book. And next thing you know, I have like 50 books that I added to my Kindle. And I have not read one of them.
Yeah, I haven't done them. You've sent me the stuff your Kindles.
Yeah.
Like 3 different times. And I'm like, this is not conducive for me because it's just overwhelming to download 50 books and have them all sitting there staring at me. And then they're taking up space in my Kindle for no reason. And then honestly, I'm probably just going to delete some of them anyway because I don't really want them.
Oh, and I will hoard them all. Wahaha.
Electronically even?
Yeah, even electronically. I'm a book
I'm
hoarder.
like return. I'm
not only a book hoarder in real life, I'm also a digital book hoarder.
Dang.
Yeah. So my next one is series completion syndrome or cover matching madness.
Okay, explain that one.
Okay, so series completion syndrome is if you have part of a series, you have to finish it.
Well, yeah.
And so like you have to have the complete series. But it matches with the cover matching madness where like if the covers don't match, then you have to get a whole new series. So that...
Why don't you just buy the correct one the first time?
Because sometimes Amazon just sends you the weirdest copy of it. And like I have a Jennifer L. Armentrout book that came totally different than... Like it's the first
That's why you buy in person and do price matching.
I'm ready to cry. because
Yeah.
now I have to get a whole new series.
No, you don't. Return that
Yes, I
one
do.
and go get it in the correct place.
But it would be easier to just buy it.
Doesn't
all.
Barnes & Noble price match too?
No,
Oh, okay.
no. Next is the author loyalty purchase.
I don't do that.
I do. Every once in a while, if there's like an author that I'm like, them, love them, I will buy anything that they put out. Then I will just do an author loyalty purchase.
And I think this is why I love Kindle Unlimited, because then like I have a few authors that I'm like, I want to read everything that they put out, but I don't want to buy all of them because that's hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
And so then I can read it and return it.
Yeah.
Kind of like the library.
I'd rather build my library.
Yeah. If I had the space maybe and the money.
I don't know. I currently have one bookshelf.
Yeah, but your bookshelf has layers. There's like 2 layers of books on each shelf.
It's double stacked, and then I have some that are like horizontal on it.
One day those shelves are all gonna crash to the ground.
You know, I really hope they don't.
Yeah, that would suck.
I did start doing a TBR pile. So that's my like to be read pile. Like, and I've pulled it off into my room. So that way then I have some books closer to me. So if I finish in like
just switch
the middle of the night, I can just grab my next read. TBR denial. Do you know what that is?
No.
Okay. Are you ready for this? Mm-hmm. All right. How many books are in your TBR?
In mine? Mm-hmm. Well, I've currently been cleaning it out, so probably like 10.
Oh, well, are you ready for mine?
I know you have over 200.
That's so generous of you to think that I only have 200. My TBR is currently at 1,079.
That's ridiculous. You're not even going to be able to function.
TBR denial. I am able to function.
Oh my gosh.
I am in denial.
I would be so overwhelmed by that.
Dude, I'm chilling in Egypt right now. I'm in denial.
Okay. Bookstore therapy. You don't have to spend money on that. Just go in there. We've done this.
We have.
I love going to Barnes & Noble, checking out books, looking at all the different ones. And then I take pictures of the covers of the books that I want to read and go find them in my library app.
Oh, 100%. That's what I do.
Yeah.
You were with me when I was doing that.
Yeah, we've both done it.
Yeah.
Let's be
I love
real.
it. But also, like, if you're going to the bookstore and buying like a book, it's technically cheaper than therapy.
Technically.
So book math.
That's true, especially if you don't have insurance that covers counseling. Vacation book hauls. I like this one. I have not actually bought books on vacation, but the last multiple places I've traveled to, I have found a bookstore to go into.
Oh no, mine isn't going to a bookstore on vacation. Mine is bringing books on vacation with me.
Oh, I'm about to do that because I'm going to Hawaii.
Yeah, and I'm going to DC. And so when I traveled to Texas and I flew to Texas, I brought 4 books with me. I read 1 on my Kindle app.
Yeah, I will just be taking my Kindle. It packs a little lighter, a little smaller.
I brought 4 books.
Lots of books at your fingertips with Kindle Unlimited.
So that brings me to my question is, if you were to fly on an airplane or travel anywhere, what book would you bring with you?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Isn't it?
I don't know the answer to that. Again, I like having them all at my fingertips.
I know. But like, you have to bring a physical book. So tell us in the comments below what your book you would bring on a trip with you is.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, guys. We want to give a big shout out to Rob Brower, our producer, for providing the studio space. He owns Aletheia Digital Media and RoMar Entertainment. If you are looking for website needs, you can reach out at aletheiadigitalmedia.com.
You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and on YouTube. And make sure you also find us on Goodreads and on Fable at Two Bound Books.
Authors, if you would like to submit your book to be considered to be on this podcast, you can head to twoboumbooks.com and submit it to our contact form. Thanks for joining us today, guys.
Thank you, guys.